Hey teens and non-teens, I'm your host Shasta, and today on the episode I will be talking about drinking and driving, which can be related to any ages, and I actually have a police officer here in Calaveras County. His name is Brian. How many years have you been a police officer?
I've been a deputy sheriff for almost 7 years now.
Okay. In your past year's experience, what kind of things have you dealt with about drinking and driving?
We deal with the gamut, everything from a teen party where it's a large group of teens drinking to vehicle accidents involving teens that have been drinking that are non-injury. Also vehicle accidents where teens have been drinking where there's injuries, and all the way up to fatalities. If
there is a party, do you guys have the right, or do you guys have to get a warrant to go in to see what's going on?
Well, if obviously to us, if it's a big teen gathering where we can see that there's 25 or 30 underage teens in there, there's alcohol present, we'll definitely take action and go ahead and make contact with them and go from there.
And what happens if you do catch people drinking?
There's a laundry list of stuff that can happen. It ranges anywhere from citation to, depending on how intoxicated they are, whether we release them to a parent or if they go to the probation department where a probation officer takes custody of them, and depending on their criminal history, whether they go all the way up to sending them off to juvenile hall.
What is something that you can share that might steer teens away from drinking and driving that you have personally experienced?
The biggest thing is the people you surround yourself with. If you're going to surround yourself with a group of people that are partying, that are going out and drinking and using drugs, obviously you're going to be more likely to do that. So if you surround yourself with a good group of people, good role models, that's the biggest thing, is just surround yourself with good people.
What are some things that teens and parents have to deal with when it comes to drinking and driving?
As far as like penalties, or?
Yeah, penalties, consequences, different things that.
It comes back to there's a consequence for every action. If you're out drinking and driving, not only is there the consequence for teens, citation, arrest, the court process, but also for the parents who ultimately pay for car insurance, impound fees for cars, to tow a car. If we do a 30-day store on a car, which is not uncommon with a DUI, it can cost you upwards of $3,000 to $3,200 by the time you pay storage fees, tow fees, penalties, administrative fees to the sheriff's office and the highway patrol to get your vehicle released. For a young adult not licensed yet, still in high school, what are the consequences when it comes to not having your license and the privilege of getting it taken away? With what we refer to as an MIP, or minor in possession of alcohol, it's any offense when you're under the age of 18 that's either drug or alcohol related, there's an automatic 1-year suspension of your license. If you don't have your license yet, then it suspends your privilege to get that until you're 17. Is it the same thing if you're caught doing drugs? It depends. It ultimately depends on what kind of drug it is. If it's marijuana, it's a citation. But if it's something like methamphetamine or ecstasy, cocaine, heroin, something harder like that, with those, there's felony charges as opposed to just either an infraction for marijuana or a misdemeanor for possession of alcohol. Do you have any tips for teens, particularly for them, just safe driving tips when they're getting started and they're starting to drive? Cell phone down. It's the big thing right now. Texting is distracting, especially for a young driver. There's a lot going on for them to remember to signal, speed control, lane control, and to try to do all that and text at the same time. I know teens are good about texting. They can do it no looking, one-handed. But your brain can't process as many things at once. What about the certain things like you can have in cars and you kind of like the voice, I don't know what it's called, but... the voice activation. Yeah, can you use that as a teen, or...? Yeah, absolutely. I heard that you, as a teen, you cannot use cell phones whatsoever. As long as it's totally hands-free. Huh, so with a car, you could still... If it's got Bluetooth, things like that, yeah. Huh, I really did not know that. As a cop, can you still drink? Outside of work, yeah. As long as you're over 21, then yeah, you're fine. Is there any cops under 21? You actually can. When I got hired with the sheriff's office, I wasn't 21 yet, so I couldn't drink till I was 21. Gotcha. How old were you? I was 20 and a half.
Okay, still couldn't drink?
Yep, yep.
I've been meaning to ask you, what exactly happened with your head?
I was doing some work around my house and hit myself with a T-post driver. So.
Oh, too bad you don't have an awesome story.
Right. No fighting criminals or anything exciting.
Yeah. So, did you get stitches or anything?
7 staples.
Oh.
So.
In the head. Oh.
Yeah. It was not a good morning.
Too good.
It was not a good way to start the day.
Have you ever arrested a teen for drinking?
Yeah. We unfortunately we do have a lot of occurrences with teens and alcohol and drug use here in Calaveras County. So it's unfortunately it's not an uncommon occurrence.
What enables your driving abilities when you are under the influence of drinking?
The alcohol it impairs your fine motor skills. You're going to have a hard time. It falls back to maintaining your lane, decision-making abilities, how fast you can make decisions. Up here, especially with deer running across the roadway, it's not uncommon for us to have teens that have been drinking that have hit a deer because you just can't react fast enough because the alcohol slows you down.
And what's your take on teens drinking?
It's one of those things. Teens can't do it. They're not 21. There's a reason age limits have been set. Someone's decided that, hey, 21's when you can, and that's what we at the Sheriff's Office are here to uphold.
What are the signs and symptoms of a teen drinking behind the wheel?
It's going to be the same for a teen as it is for an adult. Slurred speech, red, bloodshot, watery eyes, the lack of fine motor skills, the real thick tongue, slurred speech. They're going to have a hard time talking. Once we get them out of the vehicle, their ability to stand up, things like that.
What are some of the tests that you guys do?
We have a gamut. We call them field sobriety tests. We do a finger count test where we have them count on their fingers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
We do the finger to nose test.
Which is?
So you have them stand heels and toes together, arms down to their side. We'll have them take their arms out to their side, close their eyes, and then we'll say right or left, and they bring either their right or left finger, touch the tip of their nose, and bring it back.
That doesn't sound too bad if you're sober.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then we'll also have them do, we call it a Romberg test. It determines their internal clock, whether it's either sped up or slowed down. And then the one-leg stand, which is obviously a one leg where you have them stand on one leg.
What if you have bad balance?
It's not a one test kind of thing. It's a culmination of everything, the signs and symptoms. You could have horrible balance but be totally sober, and we obviously take that into account. So
consideration.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
What are the legal limits for teens?
Zero.
For drinking?
Zero. Nothing at all.
Okay.
Not a drop.
So if you do, what about cough syrup? Does cough syrup have any of that?
No.
Okay, that's good.
Unless you drink a whole lot of isopropylene alcohol, rubbing alcohol, but you're gonna have a hard time drinking that.
How do you feel when you come across a teen drinking and driving?
For us at the Sheriff's Office, it's frustrating. There's services available to them. There's other choices they can make to keep themselves from being behind the wheel. So it's really frustrating for us to see 16, 17, 18-year-old, even up to 19 and 20, because they can't drink until you're 21, to be doing that to their life. It's a lifelong consequence.
Yes, especially if something does happen.
Absolutely.
And have you dealt with that before?
Unfortunately, yeah. As I said before, we've responded to everything from non-injury accidents all the way up to fatality accidents with teens not only being the driver, but teens being the passenger, where the driver has been drinking, but the passenger's totally sober, and it was an accident that was caused because they'd been drinking, and unfortunately the passenger had passed away and had made a good choice to get in a car with the intoxicated driver. What
if a teen was drinking at a party, not driving, but still drinking at a party? What would be the consequences for them going to that party and drinking?
It goes back to the minor in possession. Even if you're not physically in possession of that alcohol, when I walk in the door, if you're not holding the beer but you're obviously intoxicated, you can be cited for minor in possession, also public intoxication. So if you're too intoxicated to care for yourself, then you're going to get a public intoxication, which then brings you back into the juvenile court system. There's fines, no jail time for minor in possessions, but there's fines upwards of $1,200 per instance, and then probation and probation makes you take classes and all kinds of stuff.
What exactly is a citation, and what does it do to affect the privileges that you do have?
A citation it's a written notice to appear. So by you signing the citation, you promise to us that you're going to appear in court. If you don't want to sign the citation, that's fine. We'll haul you off to the pokey.
Doesn't it take your privilege of getting a permit or a license, though?
Yeah, if you're, like, as I explained before, if you're ultimately cited or arrested for any drug or alcohol offense, then once that case has been adjudicated, then it's that 1-year suspension of your license.
Gotcha. Is there any suggestions for teens that have been drinking in the past, maybe to get some help or anything like that?
You can always contact the probation department. They have services available. You can contact behavioral health and substance abuse. They have, if you have a drinking problem, they have programs at low cost, and they're free of charge to assist anybody with that.
And if someone were to drink, not drink, well, not them, but if they were around someone who was drinking and that was their ride home, if they got in the car, is there any consequences with that?
Just bad decision making.
Is there any ways out of that? Maybe a phone number, anyone to call if they need a ride home, if they have been drinking or haven't been drinking? Or?
Yeah, if you've been drinking and you're at a party, you've been drinking, and you think to yourself, you know what, I made a really bad choice. I need to get home and I'm not going to drive. You can always contact your parents. If you don't feel comfortable contacting your parents, call the sheriff's office. Contact our dispatch center at 754-6500. And we'll get somebody out there. Our ultimate goal is to get you home safe.
And will there be any consequences if you do call?
No, as long as you're the one that's contacted us.
Is it confidential?
It is. Well, we're gonna get a hold of your parents. Most of the time we're gonna call your parents, have your parents come out and pick you up. But there's not gonna be any citation involved, no consequence, no everlasting penalties.
Well, that's a smart idea.
Other than your parents probably yelling at you.
So teens, if you are watching, then I suggest that if you are at a party, you should definitely call that number before getting behind the wheel and making a bad decision that can affect your friends, family, school members, anyone that is a part of your life.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
That would definitely suck. Yeah, gosh, that's terrible. What do you do if someone, like your friend, let's say your friend has been drinking, and I mean, like a buddy system. Do you think that there should be a buddy system for people if they're going to be going to parties? Buddy systems?
Buddy systems are always good. If there's somebody with you, that's good. Again, we won't ever advocate teens going to parties and drinking. But if that's a choice that you've made, a buddy is always better than you just going off and making a bad choice by yourself.
Do you have any suggestions for how teens can bring up drinking to their parents if that is a problem in their life?
Just talk to them. Parents are really open. They'll talk to you about anything.
Some parents. I know some parents are strict.
Parents would much rather have you talk to them about it than have me show up at the door at 2 in the morning knocking on the door. Every parent's worst fear is to find out their child had a drinking problem when I come knock on the door and either tell them that they've passed away or that I have them in custody.
Oh, gosh. Do you have any advice for parents that want to speak to their teens regarding drinking and driving?
Talk to them. That's the big thing.
Simple words.
Yeah, you just got to talk to them. Let them know it's not okay. But if that's a choice that you guys have made, let them know that if it's a choice that you've made that you've gone out and you drank, that you need to call your parents before you get in the car and drive yourself, or get in the car with somebody who has been drinking to get home.
Well, this is for Tracy. You know what? I'm just going to ask you. If you don't feel comfortable answering that's okay. But how has your faith brought you to where you are right now with being a police officer?
I mean, it's always a guiding force. It helps you make good decisions. It's just something that's always back there, kind of nagging at you to make sure you're making good choices. And to get anywhere in life, you got to make good choices. And if you make bad ones, you're going to start getting led down the wrong path, and you're going to end up in the back of my car instead of driving.
What is your favorite thing about being a cop?
The job. I love the job. I come to work, I have something different every day. No 2 days are the same for me. I have an outdoor office, and I come to work, and other than writing some reports, I have a pretty open plan of what I'm going to do for the day. So if I want to go out and do a bunch of traffic stops, or go make some pedestrian contacts.
Do you have fun doing that?
Like I said, I love my job. I have the best job in the world.
I mean, you are authority, so. I mean, some people are scared of you, some people love you, and you just gotta. Yeah. How do you deal with people being like, you're a cop, like, call the popos?
It's part of the job. We definitely have the people that love us, and we have the people that hate us.
It depends on what you do, right?
Yeah. So that's just part of the job.
Yeah, well, I love you guys so far. I don't think I'll do anything to make you not like you guys.
Good.
Is there anything that teens are interested, if teens are interested in being involved in what you're doing, is there any steps that they can take as a teen right now?
The high school, over at Calaveras High School, they have the ROP law enforcement program.
My friends are part of that.
Good place to start, seeing if you like it. The sheriff's office always also has an explorer program. You come out and do ride-alongs with the sheriff's office, kind of see what we do, help us fill out paperwork, talk on the radio, stuff like that.
If that's not something you're really interested in doing, but you kind of just want to just do it, to see how.
Yeah, if you want to do a ride-along, get a hold of the sheriff's office. You'll need to get a hold of Sergeant Chris Hewitt. He's the one that schedules all the ride-alongs. Get a hold of him.
Can you pick who you want to go on a ride-along with?
Sometimes they'll let you, sometimes they won't. It all depends on Sergeant Hewitt. And if you're under 18, your parent just has to sign a waiver that says they know where you're going.
Okay. Yeah. Can you stand there when you're pulling over someone, or do you have to stay in the car?
No, you got to stay in the car.
I think that would still be really, really entertaining to watch.
Oh, it's fun. It's fun. It's like I said, I got the best.
It's fun.
I got the best job in the world.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's not fun to giving them out. Because do you ever feel bad though? I mean.
Oh yeah. I mean, you feel bad to a point.
What about if your buddy got caught and you were the one that pulled him over?
It's all it's decisions you make. I don't force anybody to drink. I don't force anybody to drive.
Yes.
We're just here to make sure that everyone gets home safe. So.
Yes, I actually have one of the hardest questions, and it's a pretty long question, so I can't okay, so here it is, okay? I'm going to read it off because it's kind of a little mouthful of words. But, so for a teen that drinks, they do mess up, they do make mistakes, but is there a hotline, or if he or she has been drinking, to get help they need, so therefore to get behind the wheel? Does that make sense?
So if they're at a party drinking?
Yeah.
Like I said before, you call our dispatch center, the 754-6500 number. And like I said, our ultimate goal is to get you home safe. If you've made the decision to drink, but you've made the better decision to realize, hey, I've been drinking, I can't be driving, call us, we'll come out, we'll arrange for a ride for you, whether it's having a parent come pick you up, or if we can't get a hold of parents. We'll get you home to either, if nobody's at home, maybe to a grandparent's relative, somebody. But we'll get you to an adult that can make sure that you don't get hurt.
Yes, I mean, I realize that you're a cop and you can't, go for drinking and driving. You have to be totally disregard it and everything. It was just that's something that it's in the culture right now.
Absolutely.
And teens do, and it's kind of something where they've heard a million times not to drink and not to drive. And they do it anyways, and so there's different precautions that we should be taking to prevent it.
Yeah.
And what are some things that you should suggest for that?
Again, the people you surround yourself with. If you're surrounding yourself with people who like to drink, peer pressure, you're obviously going to drink.
Not obviously, you don't have to. You have a brain.
Right? Get involved with community events. If you're
beer smells disgusting.
It does. If you're involved with community events, you're volunteering, doing stuff like that. If you're busy doing that, then you don't have time to drink. So get involved with your community, volunteer, things like that.
Keep yourself busy.
Exactly. If you're busy, you can't drink.
We had a lady come in last year. So it was just like the quarters. The quarters. It tells you how long you have until.
Yeah.
Will you explain that a little bit?
I believe it's something AA gives out. They give out different. Some people call them challenge coins.
Yes.
That for however long you've been, however many days of sobriety or years of sobriety you have, you get a new coin. So it's just.
I don't think that's what I was talking about. I think if you have been drinking, it was kind of like a quarter amount, and then like 20, 25 something. I don't know what it is, but I was really interested in hearing what you had to say. It's like kind of to tell how long you have until you're not, you're sober, kind
of. You mean like how many? When somebody's been drinking, we refer to it to their BAC, their blood alcohol content.
Yes.
It depends on what size of drink you're having and what type of drink you're having. One beer is not going to have the same content in it as a shot of vodka or a shot of tequila, something like that. So rule of thumb is, and it all depends on your size as well. If you
So
have,
what about for someone with me? I mean, I'm not going to drink.
if you have 2 beers and I have 2 beers, my BA is going to be lower because I have more body percentage than you do. So
Teens drink less.
there you go. The DMV handouts, the driver handout books, they have graphs in them that will tell you how many, your body weight and how many drinks you have, about where it puts you BA wise.
I know this isn't exactly, your job, but it's just about getting permits, Do you have any tips for teens that are about to get their permit? Like, I'm getting it next month.
Okay.
And so, I'm not worried about, getting citations or nothing like that.
Yeah.
But just in general, any tips?
Follow the rules of the road. Always look behind you. The thing that drives us the most nuts is when we have our lights and sirens on, and people got their music cranked up and they're rocking out to the world, and nobody notices us coming up behind them. So just be aware of your surroundings. Always pay attention to what's going on around you. Pedestrians walking on the side of the road, bikes on the side of the road, stuff like that.
Well, thanks for that tip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about driving yet. I mean, obviously, it's a great privilege to have, but it's still kind of one of those things where I've been seeing a lot of my teens, well, not a lot of my teens, but a lot of my friends, they've been driving, and I'll be on runs, and I'll see them driving, and it's like, wow. I mean, I remember going to 7th grade with them, and now that I'm seeing them driving, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, and like you said, it's a privilege. And if you make a choice to go out and drink or go out and do some kind of drugs, that's a privilege that can be taken away from you. It's something that the state feels very strongly about, and their ultimate goal is not to punish you as a teen; it's to keep you safe. They don't want you to go out and drink, and knowing that you have that consequence of losing your license for a year. That's huge to teens. 99% of teens look forward to their 16th birthday on the day when they can go down to DMV and take that drive test and get their license. Nobody wants to get that taken away for a year. And then if it's like a multiple offense where it's your second or third time, those penalties start compounding, and you may not have your license till you're 21.
Wow.
So
that would be terrible.
It would be awful.
I mean, you'd be pretty much living with your parents. I mean,
right?
That's not awful.
Who wants your parents to drive you around till you're 21?
That would still be awful, though.
It would be horrible. I couldn't imagine having my parents drive me around till I was 21.
Imagine going on dates.
Who wants your parents to drive you a date?
Seriously, I mean, you might
Not
have like
me?
a girl drive you. That would be so bad. What are the statistics for here in Calaveras County?
Unfortunately, we have a very high number per capita.
Compared to other.
When you compare it to the state, we have a big drinking and driving problem. The district attorney's office has received some grants to help combat that.
Grants for what?
To combat drinking and driving. Prosecution program, so that one prosecutor sees the whole case from start to finish. Some enforcement programs, going to the high schools and talking to them about drinking and driving, and through the Highway Patrol and the Office of Traffic Safety, they have what's called the Every 15 Minutes program that's put on at the high schools.
Yes, we should talk about that.
Sure.
Is it coming up soon? Because don't they do it every couple of years or something?
It was every 2 years, but talking to some people, it sounds like it may have changed to every 4. I don't know where it actually stands right now, if it's every 2 or every 4.
Well, they should probably do it while I'm still in school.
It should. It's a powerful program.
Yes, I actually haven't done one before. Have you?
I have. When I was in high school, I was involved with it.
Will you explain to the community on what it is?
Every 15 Minutes is a program that's put on by the Office of Traffic Safety. The statistic behind it was, at the time the program was implemented, every 15 minutes somebody on the road in the U.S. was dying from an alcohol-related incident. Those statistics have gone up and they've gone down, and I think currently they're up. So it's a program that they put on to high schools. They have a mock traffic collision in which 1 or 2 teens have died. The driver of it has been drinking.
So don't they make it like really, really real?
Oh,
and
yeah.
They have like teens get out of class and they, pretty much act like.
Yeah, they do the whole makeup and they get cars that are all smashed up.
Does that affect a lot of people though? I mean, are the parents aware of what's going on, or?
Yeah, like I said, it's a very powerful program. The group of teens that are directly involved with it, They have a group of teens. Some of them are actors that in the actual accident. Some of them aren't in the accident, but they're still involved in the program. So during the accident, their faces are painted totally white to make them appear that they've died. Parents get a visit from the sheriff's office.
So the parents are affected by it, and they think that it actually happened.
The parents, they get a visit from the sheriff's office, notifying them that their child's been killed in a motor vehicle accident.
So harsh to do that to them, though.
They know it's coming, but it's still very powerful. The teens, they write their own epitaph and what they'd want put in the paper about their life.
Wow.
It's powerful. And then at the end they show a movie. They make a movie of the accident. Yeah. And they show it to the assembly. And they also have guest speakers that come in. It's usually somebody that's been affected by drinking and driving that come in and tell their experience about drinking and driving. And it's usually somebody that's lost a loved one.
And how does someone get into the acting part, becoming one of the people that were chosen? Or is it just kind of random?
I believe it's an application program. When they do the program at the high school, it's basically like an application that you want to be involved in it. You want to be directly involved with it as opposed to just watching.
Okay, we actually only have like a minute, 2 minutes left. So I kind of want to just go over like a brief thing of what we were kind of talking about. Just just a summary of your aspects on teens drinking and driving.
It's choices. The high school teacher always told us every Friday that choices you make today can and will affect you and those around you for the rest of your life. And that's
How true is that?
That's what drinking. It's what drinking and driving comes back to. Nobody wants to come. Your parent doesn't want to come see you on the morgue room slab on Monday morning after you've been drinking, and you've died as a result of a motor vehicle accident. It absolutely isn't.
I mean, you have your whole life ahead of you.
Yep. And do you want to throw it away with a can of Budweiser?
Let's not.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, seriously. I understand. I don't want to say, don't drink. But, it is definitely something that we should be aware of because you're definitely right that it can affect you and your loved ones and everyone around you. And you never know what's going to happen. I mean, you could just be drinking and, not expecting anything to happen, but something will happen sooner or later.
Absolutely.
And you're not going to be the only one paying for it. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for
Thank you for having me,
Brian.
Thank you.
All right. Well, if you need any help with teen drinking and driving, then you can call the number that they're going to show right now. It's 209-754-6500, and you can call that if you're at a party or you need a ride home from the sheriff's office, and there'll be no consequences, no citation, no questions asked. They will get you safe, and that's all we need.
Perfect.
And if you can go like Shastas Teen Journal on Facebook and go check out www.shastasteenjournal.weebly.com. And there's actually a Shell gas station across the street, and they have frozen yogurt, pretty much the only one in Calaveras County, so go check that out. All right, see you guys. Bye.